Hi, this is Scott Mastley with Threat Engage. I want to talk about what everybody is talking about today, and I'm not being sarcastic for once, I'm being serious. I know the coronavirus is a very serious issue and a lot of people are concerned about it. So I just want to do a quick video and answer some of the questions, maybe the top 10 questions that I'm getting about it as an HR professional, and hopefully that will help you as you deal with it with your employees. We sent out a little infographic recently to several of our clients, and I'm going to hit the top 5 on here. So number 1, can I send people home if they have symptoms? Yes, you can. This is a unique situation, especially when we get to pandemic level. You can send people home when they were showing symptoms, especially fever, cough, shortness of breath, which CDC is listing as the main symptoms of this issue. Right now, there are over 1,200 cases in the United States, with about 42 states and the District of Columbia reporting issues. So it is spreading pretty rapidly, and it's something we need to pay attention to. Number 2, do I have to pay employees who are out? These are questions I'm getting from employers, and that's really up to you. If you have salaried employees, typically you do pay them. If they work part of the week, you pay them for a week. That's what keeps them on a salary. If you have hourly employees, you might not be required to pay them if they're not working, but you may choose to pay them, which I've seen a lot of companies choose to extend their PTO or vacation or sick benefits just to accommodate, especially when they require people to go home, which leads us to the next question. What if people are out a long time? What happens? Well, they may be able to apply for short-term disability. You'd have to look at your policy to see if that's covered or not, whether or not they're protected under the Americans with Disability Act. I'm not sure, just depends on the situation of their illness. And then they may be even eligible for FMLA leave to take care of their own serious health condition if they're out. So you need to think about all of those options. This is a unique time in our history, so it's okay to be a little creative and flexible with your policies. If you need to make some adjustments on the fly, go ahead and do that. And feel free to reach out to me, our team here at Threat Engage, or an HR professional or legal professional that you're working with to get advice on that. Should I quarantine employees who travel? I think it's a good idea to ask people who've been traveling, especially internationally or to high-risk areas, to say, stay home at least for a few days. I've seen companies doing a week. I've seen them doing 2 weeks. Typically, what we're saying is they need to be home for at least 24 hours, symptom-free, without medication, before they come back to work. And that leads to another question. Is it okay for me now in this unique situation to ask people if they're having symptoms? And it is, yes. So it's okay if you want to send a message to your employees or even ask them, look, if anyone is showing symptoms of fever, cough, shortness of breath, please notify the designee and we will follow it from there. And then you need to talk about internally with your leadership team about what is our leave policy, what are we deciding about pay, about vacation, sick, PTO. Always check your state laws as well to make sure you're in compliance with those, because some of those are different. And what should I tell the company? So you should definitely share information with your employees about what are the symptoms, about washing their hands, being clean, disinfecting areas, what your company policies are, what your plans are if you're about to ask people to work from home. There are checklists everywhere right now on the internet about how to prepare for that. So reach out if you have any questions about that as well. You should ask people to avoid large crowds, to stay home if they're sick. And if they have anyone in their family who is sick, I would ask them to stay home for a few days as well to make sure that they're not showing any symptoms. Sometimes the symptoms can take up to 2 weeks to take effect after they've been infected. So pay attention to that. A few other questions. Let's see here. Can an employee require a doctor's note for an employee to return to work? Yes, you can require that, but it may be more challenging to do that as the demand on doctors gets greater and greater. So you might be waiting a long time, and you might have people out of work longer as they're waiting to connect with medical providers. So it's up to you whether you decide to require that or not. They might not be able to get it. That may even extend FMLA leave because you're not able to get certification like you normally would. I encourage you to use your teledoc options if you have that in your insurance plan, instead of telling people to go sit around a clinic where there's a lot of other sick people waiting to be seen. There are stories now about people who are getting sick from the hospital or the medical providers who are actually getting coronavirus. I don't know if all that's true or not, but I'm just trying to be cautious. So Again, Scott Mastley with Thread Engage HR Services. If you have any questions about how to deal with this issue ongoing, hit our website, threadhcm.com, and we'll be glad to help. Be safe.